inside the Niger Delta.
The House of Representatives Ad-hoc Committee on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, recently concluded its investigative hearing on abandoned projects in the Niger Delta from the year 2000 till date. In its terms of reference, the Nicholas Osai-led committee sitting in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja was mandated to ascertain the period and course of contracts awarded since the inception of the commission. The lawmakers, as part of their oversight responsibility, were also required to determine the status of the 9,820 contracts so far awarded by the NDDC and to find out possible constraints faced by the Commission. Quite an uphill task, you will agree with me. Barring all odds, the committee went to work and held its first meeting with NDDC contractors. In the course of the meeting, some of the contractors had openly accused the NDDC officials of demanding kickbacks on awarded contracts and refusing to pay for projects successfully delivered without mobilization payments.
Before I collect the first milestone, NDDC, they have an agent in the corner. They collect 15%. Even the second milestone, these are the agreement arrived with the agents.
The agreement with the agent?
Without so you cannot get the money.
Okay, you pay 15% of your money?
Yes, before they pay you.
To the consultant?
To the consultants.
Before they pay you?
Yeah, before they pay me. The first milestone, the second milestone. Then the third milestone, I even give 20%. Till today, I never get the money.
If you go to the office of the EDFA, sir, you will see a lot of contract files there. People that have achieved their milestones, people that have even completed their jobs without a dime, yet they are not still being paid. If you go to the office of the MD, you will see amples of files, thousands of files there.
Other NDDC contractors made a passionate appeal to the legislators to intervene in their plight as they had become practically bankrupt.
We've been passing through a lot in NDDC. We find it difficult to raise money to go to site to work. We'll go extra miles to get money. I have so many jobs, I'm still on site working. But even the ones who've worked, there is no payment. We go to communities who have issues with community. At the end, when we're done with this project, for we to get our money becomes a problem.
Chairman of the NDDC Ad-hoc Committee, Nicholas Osai, assured the contractors that the setting up of the investigative hearing was to allow justice prevail in the award of NDDC contracts.
For those of you who have finished their job and yet have not been paid, you are supposed to be paid if you have done your job. And if somebody goes into agreement with you and you've done part of it and asks you to withdraw, there's a certain penalty for that. That we should also look into and be able to interface with the NDDC and let them show us reason why you have not been paid. And be rest assured that we'll make that recommendation.
Following that assurance, top officials of the NDDC, led by its acting managing director, Dr. Lelegima Enya, were summoned to provide useful information on the state of abandoned projects as well as the financial state of the commission.
I Linus Omaru, Lelegima Enya,
do solemnly affirm
that
the evidence I shall give before this committee
shall be
the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Having put the NDDC officials on oath, the House of Representatives Ad-hoc Committee went ahead with probing questions to unravel the facts behind the recent report from the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation alleging high-level financial impropriety in the Commission. The report had specifically held the NDDC culpable for abandoned projects amounting to the sum of 61.4 billion naira.
How many abandoned projects do you have in your records?
Number of stalled projects, 342. Number of projects taken over by state governments and the others, 30. Number of cancelled, terminated projects, 49. I would like to state that the NDDC is determined to tackle this huge challenge of extremely low and slow rates of project completion. But to do this, we may humbly request for the backing of the Honorable Committee, the House of Representatives, and the National Assembly at large. In particular, we want to ask for the help in the recovery of all payments due from the federal government, as well as oil and gas companies operating in the Niger Delta region, in accordance with the NDC Act.
In its determination to undertake a full-scale probe into the activities of the NDDC, the investigative committee had summoned all past chief executives of the commission from inception in 2000. After waiting anxiously for the outcome of the summons on past NDDC chief executives, most Niger Deltans were indeed disappointed. The investigative committee curiously held private meetings with the former helmsmen of the commission, depriving all interested parties their right to know the agenda of the secret meetings. It is instructive to note that the committee chairman, Nicholas Osai, who was talking tough at the commencement of the investigative hearing, suddenly adopted a plaintive approach in the interaction with the NDDC top management. During the conclusion of their assignment, it became rather obvious that the lawmakers who initially descended heavily on the top officials of the NDDC had assumed an advisory role in providing solutions to the Commission's abysmal failure in project management.
So when you are in a position of authority, think about the millions of people who want to benefit from that your position. That's what I want, including the contractor. When you are told to do a specification of 2 inches, you do 1. You are also guilty of the offense Christ died for you. That's the guiltiness. So, as we plan to better Nigeria, we should also know that you are a pastor in government, that you are a minister of government in power, according to Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 9. You are in charge now. Take decision that people can remember you tomorrow.
As they anxiously await the outcome of the recent investigative hearing on abandoned projects in their region, most Niger Deltans insist that it must not go the way of previous investigations that were compromised and swept under the carpet.
Inside the Niger Delta.